Why your silence doesn't affect her. The truth. You need to hear. Let's be real for a second. You thought your silence would shake her. You thought ignoring her texts, leaving her on read, or disappearing without a trace would make her desperate, make her miss you, make her crawl back. You believed she'd be up all night wondering where you were, staring at her phone, waiting for your name to pop up. But here's the truth, the hard, cold truth. You weren't as important as you thought. And I know that stings. Because right now, you're the one checking her social media, looking for signs of pain. You're the one wondering if she's thinking about you. But all you see is her living her life, smiling, posting, moving forward, unbothered. Maybe it pisses you off, or maybe it confuses you. How could she just move on? Didn't she care? Didn't she love you? Wasn't your absence supposed to make her desperate to hear from you? No. It wasn't. Because here's what they didn't tell you. Your silence doesn't make you mysterious. It doesn't make you powerful. It doesn't make her value you more. It makes her see you for what you are. Someone who thought control was more powerful than connection. I've seen this play out over and over again. Hell, I've been on both sides of it. And I've learned one thing for certain. Women are wired differently. When you go silent, she doesn't waste time trying to decode your actions. She adapts. She detaches. She finds clarity in your absence. And the moment she does, you lose her for good. So if you're here looking for answers, I won't sugarcoat it. The game you played backfired. But that doesn't mean you can't learn from it. That doesn't mean you can't shift your mindset and approach relationships with real strength instead of this false idea of power. Because real strength isn't in ignoring someone to make them need you. Real strength is being the kind of man who doesn't have to play games in the first place. Let's talk about it. Part 1. The illusion of power. Let's break down the biggest lie you've been fed, the idea that silence gives you control. Somewhere along the way, you were told that by pulling away, by cutting off communication, you'd make her want you more. Maybe you read it in a dating guide. Maybe you saw it in a movie. Maybe you just believe the whole absence makes the heart grow fonder nonsense. But let's be honest. What has your silence actually done? Has it made her chase you? Has it given you the upper hand? Or has it just left you sitting there, waiting, hoping she'll crack first? Let's flip the script. Silence doesn't put you in power. It puts you in a position of insecurity, where you're using avoidance instead of honesty. Women see through that. They recognize emotional immaturity when they see it, and instead of waiting around, they recalibrate. They realize they don't need someone who plays games to feel valuable. A strong man doesn't rely on disappearing acts to prove a point. He communicates. He owns his emotions. He knows that real power isn't about withholding. It's about showing up. Part 2. She's built differently. If you think she's sitting there obsessing over you, refreshing her phone every 5 minutes, let me tell you something. You don't understand how women operate. Women have been conditioned from an early age to deal with emotional distance. They've learned that people leave. They've had friends ghost them, partners disappoint them, and life forced them to adapt. They don't sit around helpless when someone withdraws. They adjust, and they adjust fast. When you pull away, her mind doesn't instantly go to, how do I get him back? Instead, she asks herself, is this someone I really need in my life? And the moment that thought settles in, you're done. Because she'll start seeing the silence for what it really is, a sign that you're not as emotionally mature as she needs you to be. She doesn't beg. She doesn't chase. She processes, she heals, and she moves forward. And when she does, that door you left open, it slams shut. So if you thought your silence would break her, think again. The only thing it did was give her the time and space to realize she deserves better. Part 3. When she stops caring. Now comes the part you didn't prepare for. The moment when she genuinely stops caring. At first, you might not notice it. Maybe she's still polite when she sees you. Maybe she still acknowledges your existence in passing. But the energy has shifted, and if you pay attention, you'll see it. She's not waiting anymore. She's not hoping for a message or looking for closure. She's done. And not the kind of done that invites a second chance. The kind of done that means you've been mentally erased. The worst part. It's not that she's angry. It's not that she hates you. It's that she feels absolutely nothing. Indifference is the final nail in the coffin, and once a woman reaches that point, you have no power left. She won't even bother blocking you, because she's not thinking about you at all. You became just another lesson, another reminder of what she doesn't need in her life. And if you're sitting there wondering how to get her attention back, here's the harsh truth. You don't. Not through games, not through desperate attempts to reignite what's been lost. Once she's emotionally detached, she's not coming back. Part 4. The consequences of playing games. So where does that leave you? Alone with the realization that your strategy didn't work, that instead of building attraction, you built distance. Instead of making her want you, you made her forget you. The problem with playing games is that at some point, they stop being fun. And in the end, you're left with the consequences of your own choices. But there's hope, if you're willing to change. Real connections aren't built on silence, power plays, or manipulation. They're built on honesty, respect, and emotional maturity. If you want to be the kind of man who doesn't lose women because of childish tactics, it starts with self-awareness. Part 5. The road to redemption. Growth begins the moment you stop making excuses. The only way forward is to acknowledge where you went wrong and commit to being better. If you want to build real, lasting connections, start by being someone worth connecting with. It's about self-improvement, accountability, and learning how to communicate without relying on games. The men who truly win in relationships are those who bring emotional intelligence and authenticity to the table. Part 6. The man who doesn't have to play games. When you finally reach a place of maturity, you won't need to rely on manipulation. Confidence, emotional stability, and respect will naturally attract the right people into your life. The strongest man in the room isn't the one who disappears. It's the one who stands firm, communicates honestly, and values the people who matter. Part 7. The future is yours to build. Every mistake you've made, every game you've played, every moment you've wasted, it doesn't have to define you. Growth is a choice, and the future is yours to build. The question is, will you keep making the same mistakes? Or will you become the kind of man who never has to wonder if silence will work again? Conclusion. The final choice is yours. So here you are, at the crossroads of understanding and action. You've read everything: why silence doesn't work, how she moves on, and why playing games will only leave you alone. The truth has been laid out, and now, the decision is in your hands. You can keep doing what you've always done. You can keep pulling away, keep hoping she'll chase, keep testing her patience until she finally walks away for good. Or you can do something different. You can step up. You can evolve. You can become the kind of man who doesn't have to manipulate to feel valued. Because let's be clear, true connection isn't about control. It's about showing up, being present, and communicating like an adult. It's about knowing your worth without needing to play games to prove it. If you've lost someone because of these tactics, take it as a lesson. If you're still with someone and you see yourself in these words, take this as a wake-up call. And if you're single, use this knowledge to build relationships the right way from the start. Real love isn't about winning. It's about building something solid, something based on trust, respect, and genuine effort. And that starts with you. The future is yours to shape, The only question is, what kind of man are you going to be? Part 7. The future is yours to build. Every mistake you've made, every game you've played, every moment you've wasted, it doesn't have to define you. Growth is a choice, and the future is yours to build. The truth is, you can't change the past. You can't go back and undo the times you pulled away, the moments you thought silence would make her want you more, or the chances you missed by not showing up as your best self. But what you can do is decide that moving forward, you will be different. So what does that look like? It looks like a man who communicates instead of playing games. A man who understands that power isn't in silence, but in presence, in showing up, in speaking honestly, in making sure the people in his life know where they stand. It looks like a man who values himself enough to be real. Because let's be honest, anyone can disappear. Anyone can leave a message on read. But it takes real strength to be open, to be honest, and to navigate relationships with confidence instead of fear. It looks like a man who chooses growth over ego. If you've read this far, that means you care. That means deep down, you don't want to keep repeating the same mistakes. That means you're ready to step into something better. So let this be the turning point. Let this be the moment where you stop relying on silence and start relying on the kind of strength that builds relationships instead of breaking them. The future is yours to shape. The only question is, what kind of man are you going to be?